Direct News TV. February 28, 2024. Transnistria tensions. Will Russia try to annex Moldova's breakaway region? Bucharest, Romania. Alexandru Flencia's phone has been ringing non-stop since last week. "I cannot tell you how many phone calls I have received in the last 2 days from both the press and just acquaintances," Flencia told Al Jazeera, by phone. "People keep asking him whether it is safe to stay in Moldova. It is just insane," he said. Flencia heads the Initiative for Peace Association in Chisinau, Moldova's capital. He has been fielding calls since Gennady Siorba, an opposition figure in Transnistria, recently reportedly suggested that separatists may call for a referendum on the region's annexation to Russia. On Wednesday, the call Siorba touted did not quite come at a rare special congress in the narrow strip of land that is internationally recognized as Moldovan territory but backed by Russia. But the Congress of Deputies of all levels in the separatist region's capital did pass a resolution seeking Moscow's support in staving off an apparent economic crisis, which they blamed on Moldova. There is social and economic pressure on Transnistria, which contradicts European principles and approaches to the protection of human rights and free trade, the resolution said. Transnistria has been under the control of separatist authorities since 1992, and is home to about 470,000 people. Moldovan authorities have dismissed its demand as a propaganda move and downplayed the recent events, saying there is no risk of escalation. Wednesday's meeting took place just a day before Russian President Vladimir Putin's annual address to the Russian Federal Assembly. Wedged between Moldova and Ukraine, Transnistria is not recognized by any member of the United Nations as an independent entity. About 1,500 Russian troops are stationed in the Strip, which is home to ethnic Russians, Ukrainians, and Moldovans. "People from Transnistria have their own passport that is not valid anywhere," said 36-year-old Kristina Afinoganova, who is originally from Transnistria and currently living in Chisinau. "As a result, many obtain secondary documents," she added. "Most Transnistrians have Moldovan passports, while some have Russian and Ukrainian papers." Afinoganova, who was 6 when the region declared independence, recalled discussions, particularly about language, arguing whether the Moldovan language lacked prestige or if Russian was considered cool. The conflict over Transnistria in 1989 was over the language issue, according to Anatoly Diruin, head of the Tiraspol School of Public Studies. Tiraspol is the region's capital. Transnistria was part of what was known as the Moldavian Republic within the Soviet Union. However, with the proclamation of perestroika, the political and financial reform movement launched by Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev, the growth of national movements began in many Soviet republics. Moldova was no exception, Diruin said. Then, the Moldova parliament in 1990 decided that the only state language in the republic would be Moldavian in the Latin script. Transnistria, historically under the sovereignty of the Russian Empire, which had just joined Bessarabia, Moldova, in 1940, did not agree with this decision, Diruin added. After their demands were ignored, the population of Transnistria organized a large-scale strike, he explained. Sandwiched between Chisinau and Kiev, the war in Ukraine has polarized opinion on both sides of the Dniester River. Diruin believes that since 2014, amid the Donbass conflict and Russian annexation of Crimea, Ukraine has seriously changed its attitude towards Transnistria, considering the Russian troops stationed there as a threat to its national security. After February 2022, following Russia's invasion of its neighbor, Ukraine closed its border with Transnistria. Tiraspol has found itself sandwiched between Chisinau and Kiev, said Diruin. The Russian aggression in Ukraine has also impacted negotiations, said a Moldova government spokesperson of a department focused on reintegration policies. It is currently impossible to hold meetings since 2 of its very important actors, Ukraine and Russia, cannot sit at the same table to negotiate, said the spokesperson. According to Afinoganova, there are children and parents in Transnistria who have different views, regarding the war in Ukraine, and stopped meeting and speaking with each other. Economic woes. The closure of the border with Ukraine, combined with a Moldovan decision to tax goods imported into the separatist region, has skyrocketed prices of basic products, said Afina Ganova, whose parents and relatives live in Transnistria. According to Diruan, the war has rocked Transnistria's economy but also forced the leadership of Transnistria to take a more restrained position and not demonstrate its pro-Russian views. The war in neighboring Ukraine has also made Transnistria an even greater ground for disinformation campaigns, said Anastasia Posiumban, a research fellow at the Center for Order and Governance at the German Council on Foreign Relations. Another challenge has been related to the supply of electricity, Posiumban added. Moldova was once one of the European nations most dependent on Russian energy. By 2023, it became independent of Russian gas, but it continues to rely on electricity sourced from the breakaway region of Transnistria. Posiumban argued that Moldova's previously full dependency on Russian and gas and electricity from Transnistria was used as a vulnerability for Russia's blackmailing. On the other bank of the Dniester River, in Moldova, this war has, also, polarized the population even more, said Alexandru Flencia. However, if there's one thing that all Moldovans have in common, it is that almost all of us don't want war, he added. Moldova was officially granted candidate status by the European Union in June 2022, a process the bloc still believes in. Moldova's European future cannot be held hostage by the conflict, Peter Stano, EU spokesperson, told the press. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post, you won't regret it.